Success is not a matter of luck or chance. It is the natural outcome of a mind trained to think clearly, act decisively, and persevere relentlessly. Yet most people allow their thoughts to drift aimlessly, reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. The mind is the command center of your life. Every thought, belief, and emotion creates a ripple that influences your actions and ultimately your destiny. Understanding how to control your mind is the first step toward taking responsibility for your life and achieving extraordinary results. Many of us underestimate the power we hold within. We complain about situations, blame others for our failures, and dream of a better life, while doing little to cultivate the inner strength required to achieve it. Imagine a gardener who wants a lush garden, yet ignores watering, planting, and weeding. Success works the same way. Your mind is the soil, your thoughts are the seeds, and your habits are the water and sunlight. What you nurture today will determine the harvest you. This book is designed to guide you through the process of mastering your mind, not through theory alone, but through practical insights, real-life examples, and exercises that transform abstract concepts into actionable steps. You will learn how to recognize negative patterns, replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, focus your attention on what matters most, and build resilience against fear and self-doubt. You will discover how successful people across fields, from athletes to entrepreneurs to artists, consistently harness the power of their mind to achieve results that seem impossible to the untrained observer. The journey will require honesty, patience, and persistence. The mind is both your greatest ally and your most dangerous adversary. Left unchecked, it will amplify fears, magnify doubts, and trap you in cycles of inaction. But with awareness, discipline, and purposeful practice, it becomes a tool of unparalleled power, capable of shaping your reality according to your highest vision. As you read these pages, you are taking a deliberate step toward self-mastery. This is not about quick fixes or empty affirmations. It is about building lasting mental strength, developing clarity of purpose, and aligning your inner world with your outer ambitions. Each chapter will provide stories, examples, and exercises that illuminate the principles of mind control and guide you toward practical implementation. Prepare to embark on a journey that challenges your assumptions, reshapes your habits, and awakens the latent potential within you. The mind is a garden, and success is the harvest. The choice to cultivate it wisely lies in your hands. Chapter 1. Understanding the power. The mind is the most powerful instrument you possess, yet it is often neglected and misunderstood. It has the ability to create worlds, shape realities, and transform ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Many people live as if their mind is a passenger, allowing external circumstances to steer their lives, while the truth is, the mind is the driver. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, and every emotion you feed shapes your actions and ultimately your destiny. To control your life, you must first understand how your mind works and how to harness its immense power. Think of the mind as a garden. It grows what you nurture. If you feed it with fear, doubt, and negative thoughts, it will blossom into anxiety, frustration, and self-limiting beliefs. If you feed it with clarity, positivity, and courage, it will produce creativity, determination, and success. The process begins with awareness, noticing the thoughts that run through your mind, the habitual patterns that dictate your reactions, and the emotional triggers that influence your behavior. Awareness is the first step because you cannot change what you do not recognize. When you become conscious of your thoughts, you gain the power to redirect them toward constructive outcomes. Consider a young athlete rising before dawn to train while the world sleeps. She visualizes herself winning the championship, feeling the exhilaration of success, and internalizing the belief that she is capable. This mental rehearsal primes her mind for action, her body follows her thoughts, and her performance improves. The difference between her and someone who merely dreams of success lies not in talent alone, but in the deliberate control of the mind. The mind translates beliefs into actions, and actions into results. The athlete does not wait for motivation to appear. She creates it by controlling her mental state and aligning it with her goals. Another example can be seen in entrepreneurs who face uncertainty, rejection, and financial pressure. A person untrained in mind mastery may succumb to fear and abandon their dream. The successful entrepreneur, on the other hand, notices fear and doubt, yet chooses to focus on solutions, maintain clarity, and persist. Despite obstacles, the mind that is trained to focus on possibilities rather than limitations finds ways to turn challenges into opportunities. This is the essence of mind control, the ability to shape your thoughts consciously, to generate behaviors that lead to success. Understanding the mind also requires recognizing the influence of subconscious programming. Our early experiences, beliefs absorbed from parents, teachers, and society create automatic mental responses. Many of these responses are helpful, yet others are limiting. They can create self-doubt, fear of failure, and habits that sabotage potential. The good news is the subconscious is not fixed. It can be retrained through repeated practice, consistent thought patterns, and emotional conditioning. By consciously feeding the mind with empowering thoughts and positive experiences, you gradually overwrite limiting patterns and create a mental environment conducive to growth. The power of the mind is not a mystical idea. It is a reality supported by countless examples from history and modern life. Inventors, scientists, athletes, leaders, and artists all demonstrate the profound impact of focused mental control. Their achievements were not always the result of superior talent alone, but of disciplined thought, visualization, and unwavering belief in their ability to succeed. Controlling the mind allows you to direct energy toward meaningful goals, manage stress, effectively overcome obstacles, and achieve results that appear impossible to those who leave their minds uncontrolled. To begin harnessing this power, start with simple exercises. Notice when your mind drifts into negativity. Pause and question the validity of these thoughts. Replace them with constructive alternatives. Visualize your desired outcomes, and feel the emotions as if they are already real. Practice mindfulness to stay present and strengthen awareness over time. These small steps lay the foundation for greater mental mastery and the ability to shape your life according to your intentions. The journey of mastering the mind is continuous. Each day provides an opportunity to refine your thoughts, strengthen your beliefs, and align your mental state with your goals. The power lies not in waiting for circumstances to change, but in training the mind to respond effectively to any situation. Awareness, discipline, and intentional thought transform the mind from a passive observer into an active architect of reality. The mind is not only the key to success, it is the very force that makes success possible. Chapter 2. The Role of Beliefs and Perceptions. Beliefs are the invisible framework that shapes the world you experience. They act like lenses filtering reality and determining how you respond to situations. What you believe about yourself, the world, and your potential directly influences the results you achieve. A person who believes they are incapable of change will avoid opportunities for growth and reinforce failure, while a person who believes in their ability to learn, adapt, and overcome will embrace challenges and persist despite setbacks. Understanding the power of beliefs is crucial to mastering the mind, because every action begins with a thought, and every thought is influenced by what you hold to be true. He tells himself he is not good with numbers, and every difficult problem confirms his belief. He avoids practice, feels frustrated, and eventually convinces himself that success is impossible. On the other hand, another student who tells himself he can improve through effort tackles problems consistently, seeks help when needed, and celebrates small victories. Over time, this second student surpasses expectations. The difference lies not in innate talent alone, but in the beliefs that guide their actions. Beliefs shape perception, and perception guides effort. The mind acts according to the stories it is told, and the narratives you feed it determine the trajectory of your life. Perceptions are closely tied to beliefs. They influence how you interpret events and shape your emotional responses. Two people can face the same challenge yet experience it in entirely different ways. One sees obstacles and limitations. The other sees opportunities and lessons. Perception can either enslave the mind in fear or liberate it to pursue possibilities. A business leader negotiating a difficult deal may perceive the situation as a threat and act defensively, or perceive it as an opportunity for collaboration and act strategically. Controlling perception means choosing to interpret experiences in ways that empower rather than diminish you. It does not ignore reality, but reshapes your response to it. Beliefs and perceptions are formed through repetition and reinforcement. Over time, the mind creates automatic mental patterns that operate subconsciously. These patterns often go unnoticed, yet govern emotions and behaviors. Habitual negative thinking creates a mental environment of fear and limitation, while habitual positive thinking creates resilience and creativity. The mind can be trained to adopt new beliefs and healthier perceptions through consistent practice, affirmations, visualizations, and conscious reframing of experiences. Gradually rewire the neural pathways in the brain, reinforcing empowering patterns and diminishing limiting ones. For example, imagine an aspiring musician who is repeatedly told they are not talented. Enough exposure to negative feedback can create a belief of inadequacy that discourages practice and performance. Yet if the musician focuses on consistent practice, visualizes success, and surrounds themselves with supportive influences, the subconscious begins to absorb a new narrative of capability and growth. Eventually, performance improves, confidence rises, and belief aligns with reality. The process requires patience and consistency, because the mind does not change overnight, but the cumulative effect of persistent mental training is transformative. Beliefs also influence emotional responses, which in turn affect decision-making and actions. When a person believes failure is catastrophic, they act cautiously, avoid risks, and limit potential growth. When a person believes failure is a learning opportunity, they act boldly, embrace challenges, and extract lessons from mistakes. Perception determines whether obstacles become excuses or stepping stones. Controlling the mind involves examining existing beliefs, identifying those that limit you, and consciously adopting beliefs that empower you to take action aligned with your goals. In everyday life, the mind constantly interprets experiences through these lenses. Two employees may face the same project. One perceives it as overwhelming and stressful. The other as exciting and challenging. The employee with empowering beliefs approaches the task with focused energy and creativity, producing better results. This demonstrates that mastery over beliefs and perceptions is not theoretical. It has practical and measurable consequences on performance and success. The journey of mind mastery begins with noticing beliefs that hold you back, questioning their validity, and deliberately choosing thoughts that strengthen confidence, courage, and clarity. Beliefs are not fixed. They are patterns that can be reshaped through awareness, repetition, and emotional reinforcement. By consciously selecting empowering beliefs and perceiving the world through a lens of opportunity, you begin to align your mind with the life you desire. Success is less about luck, more about the deliberate cultivation of beliefs and perceptions that drive purposeful action. Chapter 3. The Science of Thoughts and Emotions. Every thought you have triggers an emotion, and every emotion shapes your actions. Understanding this connection is essential to controlling the mind, because uncontrolled thoughts create chaotic emotions and inconsistent behaviors, while deliberate thoughts create focused emotions and purposeful action. The mind and body are intimately connected. What you think affects how you feel, and how you feel affects what you do. Success depends on learning to observe thoughts, notice emotional responses, and consciously guide them toward productive outcomes. Imagine a manager facing an unexpected crisis. The initial thought may be fear or frustration, which triggers stress hormones, increasing heart rate and clouding judgment. If she allows the mind to spiral into panic, her decisions will likely be impulsive or ineffective. Yet if she notices the fear, acknowledges it, and intentionally shifts focus toward solutions, she activates mental clarity and resilience. Her emotions align with constructive action as she navigates the challenge successfully. This demonstrates that thoughts are not merely mental events. They are signals that direct energy and behavior. Controlling them allows you to harness emotions as a force for achievement. Emotions also serve as a feedback system for the mind. Negative emotions, such as fear, doubt, and anxiety, indicate thoughts that are misaligned with goals and values. Positive emotions, such as joy, confidence, and determination, indicate thoughts that support progress and growth. By learning to observe emotions without judgment, you gain insight into underlying thought patterns and the power to modify them. A student who feels anxious before a presentation can recognize that the anxiety is a signal of self-doubt and consciously replace it with focused preparation, visualization, and self-encouragement, transforming fear into readiness. Consider the case of an entrepreneur launching a new business. She faces uncertainty, and rejection each day could trigger frustration or discouragement. An untrained mind may dwell on fear of failure, delaying action or avoiding risks entirely. Yet a mind trained to observe emotions recognizes frustration as a signal to adjust, strategy and rejection as a lesson to refine approach. Each thought is examined for usefulness and redirected if necessary. The emotional response becomes a guide, not a barrier, allowing persistent action and incremental growth over time. The science of thoughts and emotions also reveals that repetition strengthens neural pathways in the brain. What you think and feel consistently forms automatic responses. Over time, these responses become habits, shaping identity and outcomes. A person who repeatedly doubts their abilities develops a subconscious pattern of hesitation and avoidance, while a person who repeatedly affirms competence develops a pattern of confidence and decisive action. This explains why mental training is not optional for success, it is foundational. One practical approach is mental rehearsal. Visualizing scenarios in detail while engaging emotions primes the mind for actual performance. Athletes visualize winning races, feeling the exhilaration of victory. Engineers visualize solving complex problems, feeling the satisfaction of innovation. And public speakers visualize engaging audiences, feeling the connection and energy. This combination of thought and emotion prepares the mind to act efficiently under real circumstances. It reduces fear of the unknown and strengthens confidence by creating a sense of familiarity with success. Another example is mindfulness meditation, which trains the mind to observe thoughts without attachment and emotions without reactivity. Regular practice strengthens awareness, allowing you to catch unhelpful thoughts before they trigger negative emotions. This awareness creates space for intentional choice rather than impulsive reaction. A professional facing criticism can respond calmly, thoughtfully, and strategically rather than defensively or emotionally, because the mind has learned to observe first and act deliberately. Mastery of thoughts and emotions is not about eliminating fear or discomfort. It is about developing the skill to navigate them effectively. Each thought is an opportunity to choose a response, and each emotion is a signal guiding action. By combining awareness with intentional thought patterns, you transform the mind from a reactive instrument into a proactive engine of achievement. The consistent practice of directing thoughts and aligning emotions with goals is what separates ordinary effort from extraordinary results. The journey of understanding and mastering thoughts and emotions continues through observation, reflection, and practice. The mind can be trained to respond to stress with calm, to uncertainty with creativity, and to challenges with determination. Controlling the mind begins with noticing what you think, feeling the resulting emotions, and deliberately guiding both toward outcomes that support your growth and success. By harnessing the science of thoughts and emotions, you create the internal conditions necessary to achieve external results and begin to experience the profound power of a disciplined mind. Chapter 4. Developing mental discipline. Mental discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. It is the skill of training the mind to focus persistently on what matters most and to resist distractions, impulses, and habits that undermine progress. Without discipline, even the greatest talent and potential can remain dormant. The disciplined mind creates consistency in action and thought, which compounds over time, producing extraordinary results. The process begins with small, deliberate practices repeated daily that strengthen focus, willpower, and self-control. Consider the life of an entrepreneur launching a new venture. The challenges are constant financial pressures, rejection, and uncertainty test the limits of resilience. Without mental discipline, each setback can trigger discouragement. Yet an entrepreneur who has trained the mind to respond with focus and persistence treats each obstacle as a problem to solve and continues moving forward. Mental discipline allows the mind to stay aligned with goals, despite fluctuating emotions, external pressures, and internal doubts. It transforms intention into action and action into measurable progress. Mental discipline is like physical fitness. It is built through regular practice and gradual increase in challenge. Simple exercises, such as setting aside time for focused work, avoiding multitasking, and prioritizing important tasks over urgent but trivial matters, strengthen mental stamina. Meditation and mindfulness cultivate awareness and control over wandering thoughts. Journaling provides clarity and reinforces positive patterns. Each of these practices trains the mind to notice distractions, impulses, and negative patterns and redirect energy toward productive behavior. An athlete demonstrates mental discipline by training consistently, even when motivation wanes. Her mind has been conditioned to embrace routine effort and small incremental improvements. Each day of practice builds strength not only in the body, but in the mind. The same principle applies to intellectual pursuits, creative work, and professional development. Consistency over time compounds results and transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Mental discipline is the engine that drives long-term achievement because it allows the mind to persist when circumstances are difficult and external support is limited. Discipline also requires conscious management of energy and attention. The mind can only maintain focus for limited periods. Without rest, nutrition, exercise, and sleep influence cognitive performance and emotional stability. Creating routines that protect mental energy ensures that the mind remains sharp and capable of intentional thought. When a writer blocks off hours each morning to write without interruptions, the routine itself strengthens discipline and trains the mind to enter a state of deep focus naturally. The results multiply because the mind becomes accustomed to sustained productive engagement. Another key aspect of mental discipline is delayed gratification. The ability to postpone short-term pleasure for long-term gain strengthens self-control and aligns behavior with meaningful goals. A student who chooses study over leisure develops knowledge that opens opportunities years later. An investor who resists impulsive decisions preserves and grows wealth over time. Discipline is not restriction. It is the conscious alignment of actions with purpose and vision. Mental discipline is cultivated by consistently making choices that reflect your highest priorities rather than reacting to fleeting impulses. Real-life examples of mental discipline abound in history and contemporary life. Entrepreneurs, inventors, and leaders achieve breakthroughs not solely because of talent, but because they maintain focus and action consistently over long periods. Despite failures, setbacks, and criticism, their disciplined minds continue to direct effort toward goals. They create routines, build habits, and maintain mental clarity that shields them from distraction and aligns daily actions with long-term vision. Discipline transforms potential into performance and ensures that the mind becomes a tool for deliberate achievement. Developing mental discipline is not instantaneous. It requires patience, awareness, and persistent practice. Begin with small victories over distraction and inattention. Notice when the mind wanders and gently return focus to the task at hand. Build routines that reinforce consistent action. Gradually increase challenges and responsibilities and train the mind to persist under pressure. The cumulative effect is a resilient, powerful mind capable of sustaining effort and focus toward the achievement of goals. Mental discipline is the foundation of mastery and the force that converts dreams into tangible results. Chapter 5: Visualization and Creative Imagination. The mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced in reality. This makes visualization a powerful tool for shaping outcomes and aligning action with goals. Champions across fields, athletes, inventors, leaders, and artists use mental imagery to pre-experience success before it occurs. Visualization programs the mind to act with confidence, clarity, and purpose. It creates neural patterns that prepare the brain and body to perform effectively when real circumstances arise. Consider an athlete preparing for a championship race. She closes her eyes and imagines herself running with perfect form, feeling the rhythm of each stride and sensing the exhilaration of crossing the finish line first. The emotions generated by this mental rehearsal activate the same brain regions involved in actual physical performance. The body responds by reinforcing coordination, strength, and timing even before physical practice begins. Visualization bridges imagination and reality, strengthening belief and directing effort toward the desired outcome. Visualization is not limited to sports. It is equally effective in business, creative pursuits, and personal development. A public speaker imagines walking on stage with confidence, engaging the audience, and receiving enthusiastic responses. The mind absorbs the details of posture, tone, expression, and audience connection. This reduces fear of the unknown and strengthens performance. The more detailed and emotionally charged the visualization, the more the subconscious mind treats it as real experience, preparing the individual to act decisively and with composure. Creative imagination complements visualization by allowing the mind to explore possibilities beyond current constraints. Innovation often begins in the mind through imagined solutions, scenarios, and outcomes. Inventors picture the function of new machines. Entrepreneurs envision new products, and artists mentally construct scenes and stories before bringing them into the world. Creative imagination expands the range of potential actions and allows the mind to see paths that are not immediately obvious. This is essential for problem-solving and breakthrough achievements because the mind can anticipate challenges, visualize solutions, and plan strategically before executing in reality. An example from entrepreneurship demonstrates the power of visualization and imagination. A designer preparing to launch a new product spends hours mentally walking through the customer experience, imagining reactions, potential objections, and ways to enhance satisfaction. This mental rehearsal helps refine the product and anticipate challenges, reducing the likelihood of failure. By imagining success and obstacles simultaneously, the mind creates a roadmap of actions aligned with desired outcomes. Visualization also strengthens belief and motivation. A person who mentally rehearses achieving a goal repeatedly begins to internalize the experience of success. The mind associates positive emotions with the behaviors required to succeed, reinforcing persistence and effort. When a student repeatedly visualizes mastering a complex subject, feeling the satisfaction of understanding and the pride of accomplishment, the mind primes itself to focus, retain information, and overcome challenges efficiently. To maximize the effectiveness of visualization, practice daily mental rehearsals in a quiet space, engage all senses, and include emotions. Make the experience as vivid as possible. Feel the joy, pride, excitement, and satisfaction as if the success has already occurred. Combine imagination with action by translating mental scenarios into real-world steps. Visualize not only the outcome, but the process, the decisions, the actions, and the effort required. This creates alignment between intention and execution and strengthens confidence and readiness. The combination of visualization and creative imagination empowers the mind to act with clarity, courage, and determination. It transforms abstract goals into tangible mental experiences, preparing the individual to navigate real-world challenges. Effectively, it reduces fear of failure, accelerating and enhances performance by creating a sense of familiarity with success. The disciplined use of imagination and visualization is a cornerstone of mind mastery and a powerful tool for achieving extraordinary results. Chapter 6. The Role of Focus and Attention. Focus is the invisible force that multiplies effort and transforms intention into results. In a world filled with endless distractions, notifications, social media, and competing priorities, the ability to direct attention deliberately is one of the rarest and most powerful skills of a successful mind. Without focus, energy dissipates across trivial tasks, producing minimal results, while focused attention concentrates power on meaningful objectives, producing extraordinary outcomes. Consider a writer working on a novel. She sets aside uninterrupted time each morning, immersing herself completely in the story. She silences her phone, avoids emails, and commits to writing without distraction. During this period, her mind is fully aligned with the goal of creating compelling work. The quality and quantity of output far surpass what would be possible with fragmented attention. Focus allows for creativity to flow, clarity to emerge, and ideas to develop fully, because the mind is not divided, it is concentrated and intentional. Attention also determines perception and the interpretation of reality. The mind notices what it is trained to observe. A person who focuses on problems sees obstacles everywhere, while a person who focuses on opportunities notices solutions and possibilities. Focus acts like a filter, shaping experiences and guiding responses. Controlling where you place attention determines the quality of thoughts, emotions, and actions, and ultimately the results you achieve. A student who concentrates deeply on learning a challenging subject absorbs knowledge efficiently, while a student who is distracted by social media struggles to retain even simple concepts. Developing focus requires deliberate practice and the creation of supportive habits. One effective technique is to break work into concentrated intervals, followed by short breaks known as time blocking, or the Pomodoro technique. During these periods, the mind learns to sustain attention on a single task. Eliminating the habit of multitasking, which reduces efficiency. Focus is strengthened by minimizing environmental distractions, creating routines, and using mental cues to signal the mind when it is time for deep work. For example, a musician may enter the practice room at the same hour daily, creating a conditioned mental state that prepares for concentration and productive performance. Another aspect of focus is prioritization. The mind can only process so much information at once. Energy spent on low-impact activities reduces the capacity to excel in areas that matter most. By identifying high-value tasks and directing attention toward them consistently, you amplify results. A business leader who prioritizes strategic planning over trivial meetings creates long-term growth, while a manager who reacts to every minor issue loses momentum. And effectiveness. Focus converts effort into measurable progress by directing energy where it has the greatest impact. Focus is closely tied to self-discipline. Awareness of wandering thoughts and intentional redirection strengthens mental control. A person practicing meditation develops the ability to notice distractions without reacting and gently return attention to the chosen point of focus. Over time, this skill translates to daily life, enabling better concentration on work goals, relationships, and personal growth. Focus becomes not only a tool for productivity, but a way of aligning thoughts and actions with purpose. Real-life examples demonstrate the power of attention. In business, visionaries devote concentrated periods to innovation, ignoring distractions of daily operations. Writers achieve literary mastery through sustained hours of uninterrupted writing, and athletes reach peak performance by immersing themselves fully in training. Focus is the engine that drives excellence because it transforms scattered energy into directed force. The difference between potential and achievement often lies in the ability to sustain attention consistently on the most important objectives. To cultivate focus, begin with small exercises. Notice when attention drifts and gently return it to the task at hand. Remove distractions, gradually build duration of concentrated work, and align mental effort with high-priority goals. Over time, the mind strengthens its capacity to sustain attention even under challenging circumstances. Focus is a muscle that grows with practice and becomes the foundation for consistent achievement and the realization of ambitious goals. Chapter 7: Emotional Mastery and Resilience. Emotions are powerful signals that shape perception, behavior, and decision-making. Yet most people allow emotions to control them, rather than learning to respond intentionally. Emotional mastery is the ability to observe emotions without being overwhelmed by them, to understand their source, and to channel their energy toward constructive action. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from setbacks, adapt to challenges, and persist despite adversity. Together, emotional mastery and resilience form the foundation of a mind capable of sustained success. Consider an entrepreneur facing repeated rejection of her business proposals. Each rejection can trigger disappointment, frustration, or self-doubt. An untrained mind may react by avoiding risks or abandoning the venture. Emotional mastery allows her to acknowledge these feelings without letting them dictate behavior. She examines the reasons behind the rejections, adapts strategy, and persists with renewed focus. The ability to manage emotional responses transforms potential barriers into opportunities for growth and learning. Emotional mastery begins with awareness, noticing. What you feel in each moment provides insight into underlying thought patterns and beliefs. When anger, fear, or anxiety arises, the mind can pause to examine the cause and determine a deliberate response rather than reacting impulsively. For example, a student receiving critical feedback can feel defensive, yet choose to extract lessons and improve performance. This conscious management of emotions strengthens self-control, reduces stress, and enhances decision-making. Resilience is built through repeated exposure to challenges and intentional practice of recovery. Skills such as problem-solving, persistence, adaptability, and optimism enhance resilience. The mind learns to interpret setbacks not as permanent failures, but as temporary obstacles and feedback for improvement. A professional who encounters a project failure can use it to refine methods, learn new approaches, and strengthen determination, rather than succumb to discouragement. Resilience is cultivated over time by facing difficulties consciously and reflecting on the lessons learned. Stories of successful individuals demonstrate the power of emotional mastery and resilience. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Yet each failure provided data and insight, fueling persistence. The key was not avoiding negative emotions, but harnessing them to drive disciplined action. Another example is a top athlete who suffers injuries and setbacks. Yet emotional mastery allows recovery without despair, and resilience ensures continued effort toward peak performance. These examples show that emotions themselves are not obstacles but signals and energy sources when managed skillfully. Practical strategies for developing emotional mastery include mindfulness meditation, which strengthens the ability to observe feelings without immediate reaction, deep breathing techniques that calm physiological responses to stress, and reflective journaling, which provides clarity and perspective. Regularly practicing gratitude and positive reframing enhances emotional resilience by shifting attention from problems to possibilities. These exercises train the mind to navigate emotional turbulence and maintain alignment with long-term goals. Another aspect of emotional mastery is managing internal dialogue. Negative self-talk undermines confidence and reinforces fear. Resilient minds notice self-critical thoughts and deliberately replace them with constructive, supportive statements. A student telling herself, "I can learn this," gradually develops confidence and reduces anxiety, which enhances learning. Similarly, in business leaders, positive internal dialogue enables bold decision-making and calm problem-solving under pressure. Emotional mastery turns self-talk into a tool for growth rather than a source of limitation. The combination of emotional awareness, deliberate regulation, and resilient thinking equips the mind to handle uncertainty, adversity, and pressure. While challenges are inevitable, a trained mind maintains composure, clarity, and energy. Emotional mastery ensures that emotions are allies, not enemies, and resilience ensures that obstacles strengthen rather than weaken resolve. Together, they form the backbone of mental strength necessary for achieving sustained success in any field. Chapter 8. Overcoming Fear and Self-Doubt. Fear and self-doubt are among the greatest obstacles to success. They arise naturally as signals that we are approaching the unknown, yet most people allow them to dominate thought and behavior. The mind reacts to fear by imagining worst-case scenarios, exaggerating risk and shrinking possibility. Self-doubt convinces us that we are incapable, unworthy, or unprepared. Overcoming these mental barriers requires awareness, understanding, and deliberate action. Consider a young professional preparing for a promotion. She feels fear about whether she is ready and doubts her ability to perform at the higher level. An untrained mind might respond by procrastinating, avoiding responsibility, or underestimating potential. Yet a mind trained to confront fear recognizes it as a signal rather than a stop sign. She acknowledges fear without surrendering to it, identifies actionable steps to prepare, and takes initiative. By acting in spite of fear, she builds competence, confidence, and resilience, which reinforce a positive feedback loop, transforming self-doubt into determination. Fear often thrives in uncertainty and imagination. The mind pictures unlikely negative outcomes and reacts as if they are inevitable. Recognizing that fear is a projection rather than reality is the first step in overcoming it. Visualization and mental rehearsal provide a practical tool by imagining success in detail and feeling the positive emotions associated with achievement. The mind reduces the paralyzing effect of fear and prepares the body and brain to act decisively. A public speaker may fear ridicule, yet visualizing engagement, applause, and confidence primes performance and reduces anxiety. Self-doubt often stems from past experiences, negative conditioning, or comparisons with others. It erodes motivation and undermines focus. The antidote lies in building competence gradually through deliberate practice, learning from mistakes, and celebrating incremental progress. Each success reinforces belief in ability and weakens patterns of doubt. For example, an artist doubting talent may focus on daily practice, producing small works consistently. Over time, skill improves, confidence grows, and self-doubt loses its grip. The key is consistency and recognition that ability is developed through effort, not fixed by past limitations. Another strategy is reframing failure as feedback. Fear of failure and self-doubt both magnify the consequences of mistakes. By consciously viewing mistakes as lessons and opportunities for growth, the mind transforms setbacks into sources of information and motivation. A startup founder whose first venture fails can extract insights about market demand, product design, and leadership style. Each lesson gained strengthens competence and diminishes fear of future challenges. Resilience grows as the mind learns to anticipate setbacks without panic and approach problems with curiosity and problem-solving focus. Support systems and role models also play a role in overcoming fear and self-doubt. Surrounding oneself with encouraging people and studying examples of others who faced similar challenges provides perspective and inspiration. Mentorship and observation of successful individuals demonstrate that fear and doubt are natural yet conquerable elements of the growth process. Exposure to positive influence reshapes beliefs about capability and possibility. Finally, action itself is the ultimate antidote. Fear and self-doubt shrink in the presence of deliberate steps toward goals. Each action, no matter how small, signals competence and reinforces belief in capability. Waiting for confidence to arrive before acting only strengthens negative patterns. Taking consistent action trains the mind to trust itself and builds momentum that transforms hesitation into achievement. Fear and self-doubt are not eliminated overnight. Deliberate mental practice and persistent action. By consciously observing fear, questioning self-limiting thoughts, visualizing successful outcomes, practicing incremental competence, and taking decisive steps, the mind develops courage and confidence. Over time, fear becomes a guide rather than a barrier, and self-doubt becomes a signal to prepare and improve rather than a reason to quit. Mastery of these elements empowers individuals to act boldly, navigate uncertainty, and achieve results that once seemed impossible. Chapter 9. The Habits of Successful Minds. Success is it is the result of consistent habits that shape thought, behavior, and results. The mind of a successful person is trained to act in ways that promote growth, clarity, and achievement. Habits are the invisible architecture of life. Repeated daily actions compound over time, producing outcomes far beyond what is possible through occasional effort. The key to mastering the mind for success is developing habits that reinforce focused discipline, emotional resilience, and positive thinking. Consider an entrepreneur who begins each day with deliberate routines, meditation, exercise, and planning. She sets priorities, visualizes the most important outcomes, and reviews progress from the previous day. These consistent practices create mental clarity and align attention with meaningful goals. By reinforcing productive behaviors daily, the mind becomes conditioned to focus, respond intentionally, and persist despite challenges. Habits create momentum. They reduce the energy required for decision-making and make consistent effort automatic rather than forced. Successful minds cultivate the habit of continuous learning. They read, observe, experiment, and reflect on experiences. They treat mistakes as feedback rather than defeat and seek knowledge proactively. An engineer developing a complex system may encounter repeated failures. It uses each experience to refine understanding and improve design. Learning becomes habitual, and the mind is constantly sharpening its capability to solve problems and adapt to changing circumstances. Another key habit is deliberate focus on priorities. Rather than reacting to every distraction, the successful mind identifies high-value tasks and directs attention consistently toward them. A CEO may receive hundreds of messages daily, yet dedicates uninterrupted time to strategic planning initiatives that determine long-term growth. Focused attention transforms effort into measurable progress and ensures that energy is invested where it produces the greatest impact. Habits of focus are reinforced through routines, schedules, and environmental design that protect attention from disruption. Gratitude and positive reflection are additional habits that shape mindset. Successful individuals routinely acknowledge achievements, strengths, and opportunities rather than dwelling on shortcomings. This practice strengthens mental resilience, reduces stress, and reinforces belief in capability. By regularly reflecting on successes, the mind becomes oriented toward possibility rather than limitation and sustains motivation even under pressure. Self-discipline and delayed gratification are habits that underpin long-term success. The ability to resist immediate pleasures in favor of meaningful outcomes trains the mind to align behavior with values and goals. A student prioritizing study over entertainment builds knowledge that compounds into expertise. An investor delaying impulsive decisions grows wealth over time. Habits of self-control transform potential into reality because the mind develops trust in its own ability to act consistently toward desired outcomes. Successful minds also cultivate the habit of visualization and mental rehearsal. Daily mental practice aligns thought, emotion, and action toward desired results. Athletes, speakers, artists, and entrepreneurs all use imagination to pre-experience success, reinforcing confidence, preparedness, and motivation. The habit of visualizing both challenges and solutions trains the mind to respond effectively and reduces fear of the unknown. Finally, reflection and adjustment are critical habits of successful minds. The ability to review performance, identify patterns, and implement improvements ensures continuous growth. The mind becomes adaptive rather than rigid, learning from experience and adjusting strategies for better results over time. Habits of reflection, learning, and adaptation create a self-reinforcing cycle of improvement and achievement. By intentionally cultivating habits of focus, discipline, learning, gratitude, visualization, and reflection, the mind becomes a tool for sustained success. Daily routines shape thought patterns, reinforce positive emotions, and align action with purpose. Over time, these habits become automatic, producing results that once seemed improbable and transforming potential into consistent achievement. Chapter 10. Decision-making and clarity. Clarity of thought and decisive action are essential for success. Indecision and confusion waste energy, create stress, and prevent progress. The mind of a successful person is trained to observe, analyze, and act with confidence and purpose. Clarity begins with understanding goals, priorities, and values, and decision-making becomes effective when aligned with these guiding principles. Consider a business leader faced with multiple strategic options. Each choice carries potential risk and reward. An untrained mind may become paralyzed by uncertainty, overthinking every possibility and fearing mistakes. Yet a mind trained for clarity identifies the most relevant criteria for evaluation, aligns choices with long-term objectives, and takes action decisively. Clarity eliminates unnecessary mental noise, allowing the mind to focus energy on execution rather than worry. Decision-making is strengthened through awareness of internal biases and emotional influence. The mind often reacts impulsively based on fear, desire, or past experiences, rather than deliberate reasoning. Recognizing these influences allows a person to pause, reflect, and make conscious choices. For example, an investor tempted to follow market hype can assess data objectively, consider long-term strategy, and act rationally rather than emotionally. Emotional mastery supports clear decision-making by preventing panic and enhancing confidence. Another key aspect of clarity is breaking complex problems into manageable steps. By dividing challenges into smaller actionable parts, the mind reduces overwhelm, and a student facing a difficult project can focus on completing one section at a time, rather than being paralyzed by the magnitude of the task. Incremental progress creates momentum, reinforces confidence, and guides the mind toward consistent results. Visualization and mental rehearsal also enhance decision-making. A mind that has imagined potential scenarios, solutions, and consequences is better prepared to act when real circumstances arise. A project manager who mentally reviews the workflow, anticipates obstacles, and plans responses develops faster and more effective choices than one who acts without preparation. Mental clarity and foresight convert potential uncertainty into actionable strategy. Clarity is also supported by reflection and learning from past decisions. Successful minds review outcomes, identify patterns, and refine processes. Continuous evaluation strengthens judgment and builds intuition over time. An athlete analyzing previous performances can make adjustments that improve future results. A leader reviewing past projects gains insight to make better strategic choices. Clarity grows with experience, feedback, and deliberate attention to mental processes. Finally, decisiveness reinforces confidence and reduces mental clutter. Each deliberate choice signals competence to the mind and strengthens trust in its own judgment. Over time, the habit of clear decision-making reduces fear of failure, eliminates hesitation, and creates a sense of momentum in achieving goals. Waiting for perfect conditions often delays action and reinforces self-doubt. Acting with clarity, even amidst uncertainty, trains the mind to navigate challenges effectively and transform opportunities into results. By cultivating awareness, emotional regulation, structured analysis, visualization, reflection, and decisive action, the mind develops clarity and becomes a powerful tool for achievement. Focused, intentional, and confident decision-making aligns thoughts and actions with purpose, allowing individuals to convert potential into measurable success and navigate complex challenges with composure and efficiency. Chapter 11: Mind Programming Through Daily Routines. The mind responds to repetition and consistency. Habits and routines act as the programming language of thought. They shape perception, behavior, and emotional responses. Over time, daily routines create automatic mental patterns that determine how you react to challenges, opportunities, and stress. A person who structures each day intentionally programs the mind for focus, resilience, creativity, and productivity, while one who drifts through tasks without intention allows chaos to dictate thought and action. Consider a top athlete whose day begins with morning meditation, exercise, visualization, and focused practice. Each element reinforces mental control, emotional balance, and preparedness. The repetition over weeks, months, and years conditions the mind to respond to challenges with composure and effort, even under pressure. The routines themselves act as a mental framework, guiding thoughts and behavior toward peak performance consistently. Daily routines also provide structure for aligning action with goals. Small repeated behaviors compound over time, producing results far greater than occasional bursts of effort. A writer dedicating a set time each morning to writing produces hundreds of pages over months. A student practicing problem-solving daily gradually masters complex concepts. Routines convert intention into action by creating predictable environments that reduce decision fatigue and maximize mental energy for high-value tasks. Mind programming through routines is not limited to work. It encompasses emotional regulation, rest, reflection, and preparation. Proper sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness routines all influence cognitive performance and emotional stability. The mind that is well-rested, focused, and nourished operates more efficiently and makes better decisions. Habitual reflection journals, planning, and review further reinforce learning and adaptability by creating a feedback loop that strengthens awareness and aligns future action with goals. Visualization and affirmation routines amplify mind programming. Repeatedly imagining success, rehearsing challenges, and reinforcing empowering beliefs primes the subconscious to act in alignment with conscious intentions. A business leader starting each day by reviewing goals, visualizing successful interactions, and affirming competence programs the mind for confidence, creativity, and decisive action when opportunities and obstacles arise. Consistency in daily routines also strengthens resilience. The mind becomes conditioned to face discomfort, persist through challenges, and maintain effort even when motivation fluctuates. By creating structured practices that incorporate both growth and recovery, the mind learns to sustain performance under varying conditions. A musician who rehearses daily, regardless of mood, builds skill and confidence while training the mind to respond constructively to setbacks and fatigue. Another critical aspect of mind programming is intentional repetition of learning and skill development. Each practice session, reflection, and visualization reinforces neural pathways that guide behavior and thought. Automatic mental patterns emerge from consistent routines, creating efficiency, clarity, and confidence over time. Daily actions become a scaffold that supports long-term goals and transforms abstract ambitions into tangible results. The power of mind programming lies in its cumulative effect. Small repeated choices, habits, and routines compound over time, creating a mental environment aligned with success. A mind trained through structure, consistency, and deliberate practice becomes a reliable instrument capable of navigating uncertainty, making decisive choices, and achieving meaningful outcomes. Routines are not constraints. They are the vehicle through which potential is transformed into consistent action and extraordinary results. Chapter 12, Long-Term Success Strategies. Success is not a single achievement. It is the result of sustained effort, deliberate action, and consistent mental alignment over time. Long-term success requires more than talent or luck. It requires a strategic approach to thought, behavior, and life design. The mind must be trained to act intentionally, adapt to change, and maintain focus on meaningful goals while navigating uncertainty and obstacles. One essential strategy is goal setting with clarity and specificity. Goals provide direction and act as anchors for the mind. A person who sets vague intentions often drifts, while one who defines precise, measurable, and time-bound goals can track progress and adjust actions accordingly. For example, an entrepreneur aiming to expand a business specifies revenue targets, customer milestones, and operational improvements. The mind continuously aligns thoughts and decisions with these objectives, increasing the likelihood of achievement. Another strategy is cultivating adaptability and continuous learning. The world changes rapidly, and the ability to learn new skills, update knowledge, and adjust strategies is essential. Long-term success is achieved by minds that embrace challenges as opportunities and seek growth from setbacks. A scientist encountering unexpected results views them as data to refine experiments rather than failures. A professional in a dynamic industry invests in learning new technologies and practices to remain relevant and effective. Continuous improvement strengthens confidence, competence, and resilience. Consistency and persistence are critical for long-term success. Repeated effort over months and years compounds results dramatically. A writer completing a few pages daily produces novels over time. An investor consistently saving and investing grows wealth gradually. These small incremental actions align the mind with long-term objectives and create a habit of progress. The mind learns to trust effort and develop patience for delayed gratification, which is a hallmark of sustainable achievement. Emotional regulation and resilience remain central to sustained success. Minds trained to manage fear, frustration, and stress maintain clarity, focus, and energy over. A CEO facing multiple crises can navigate them effectively by maintaining composure and responding strategically rather than reacting impulsively. Similarly, athletes and artists who experience setbacks recover mentally and continue, improving through deliberate practice and reflection. Emotional mastery ensures that challenges do not derail progress, but instead become catalysts for growth. Networking, collaboration, and seeking mentorship are additional strategies that enhance long-term success. Engaging with people who inspire, challenge, and provide constructive feedback exposes the mind to new perspectives and accelerates learning. Learning from the experience and guidance of others complements personal effort and enhances decision-making. The mind becomes more flexible, informed, and capable of strategic action through exposure to diverse ideas and examples. Finally, reflection and adjustment sustain success over time. Regularly reviewing outcomes, learning from mistakes, and refining strategies ensures continued alignment with long-term objectives. The mind trained to adapt rather than rigidly follow plans remains effective in dynamic environments. Reflection strengthens awareness, reinforces productive patterns, and reduces repeated errors, creating a feedback loop that enhances performance and decision-making. By combining clear goal setting, adaptability, continuous learning, consistent effort, emotional resilience, mentorship, and reflection, the mind becomes a powerful engine for long-term achievement. These strategies transform ambition into tangible outcomes and sustain growth over years and decades. The disciplined application of these principles ensures that success is not fleeting, but durable, evolving, and aligned with personal vision. Conclusion: the mind as the architect of your life. The journey of mastering the mind for success begins with awareness and culminates in intentional action. The mind is not a passive observer of life. It is the architect of reality. Every thought, belief, emotion, and habit shapes the experiences and outcomes you create. Mastery of the mind requires consistent practice, discipline, and the courage to confront fear, self-doubt, and distraction. Those who succeed do not avoid challenges. They train their mind to navigate them with clarity, focus, and resilience. Throughout this book, we have explored the principles and practices that allow you to harness the full power of your mind. Awareness of thought patterns, deliberate belief formation, emotional mastery, visualization, focus, disciplined routines, and long-term strategies all work together to transform potential into achievement. The mind responds to repetition, clarity, and alignment with purpose. The small, consistent actions performed daily compound into extraordinary results over time. Real-life examples of athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, and creatives demonstrate that success is rarely the product of chance. Talent alone is insufficient. The difference lies in the ability to control thought, regulate emotion, focus attention, develop resilience, and sustain disciplined action. A mind trained to act intentionally transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. It creates confidence, clarity, and momentum that fuels growth across all areas of life. The power of the mind is available to anyone willing to take responsibility for their internal world. The choice to cultivate empowering beliefs, practice disciplined routines, confront fear, and focus on meaningful goals lies in your hands. Consistent application of these principles rewires thought patterns, strengthens emotional resilience, and aligns behavior with desired outcomes. The mind becomes not only a tool for achievement, but a source of creativity, courage, and self-mastery. As you move forward, Remember that mastery of the mind is a lifelong journey. Each day provides an opportunity to reinforce positive habits, refine mental patterns, and strengthen focus. The challenges you encounter are invitations to practice the skills of awareness, discipline, and resilience. The victories, both large and small, are evidence of the power within you. Your mind is the architect, and your life is the structure. Every thought you choose, every emotion you manage, and every action you take contributes to the reality you build. The principles in this book are designed to guide you toward intentional construction of a life of achievement, fulfillment, and impact. The journey requires effort, patience, and persistence, but the reward is the ability to shape your destiny and achieve the success you envision. Master your mind, direct your focus, cultivate resilience, and commit to consistent action. The possibilities are limitless when your inner world aligns with your highest aspirations. The mind is not only the source of success and compass guiding you toward the life you are capable of creating.
Kindly subscribe to my channel.